Say a pleasant good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Let me say good morning to those of you also viewing GBN TV, whether it's channel 7, channel 11, channel 20. Good morning. What about those of you who are listening and viewing via social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels? Good morning. Welcome. It's to the point. It's Thursday, the 23rd day of January 2025. And with me this morning, on Thursdays, we do, of course, entertain various departments within the RGPF. And this morning with me, we have, of course, SB Douglas, and also is it Corporal James. Hope I have the names right. Let me say good morning to you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to your viewers and listeners, and it's a pleasure to be here.
All right.
And good morning to you and to your viewers on whatever platform you're viewing or listening in. We just want to say thanks for the opportunity to be here this morning.
All right. The focus of our conversation this morning, we're talking registration, licensing, insurance, everything that especially road users would definitely need to have a level of knowledge pertaining to in reference to having your vehicle inspected, the licensing procedure, everything that you would have to know. We will certainly be talking about that this morning. Let's start the conversation off in terms of the required for registration. Someone may say, well, I'm purchasing a vehicle from someone, I want to get it registered, I want to know the procedure that I have to go through and so forth. I'm not sure who's going to take up the mantle of getting that conversation started for me this morning.
Okay, we just want to offer guidance as to that process regarding the registration of vehicles. And that would be vehicles imported into the island.
Yeah.
So basically, they are used vehicles and they are brand new vehicles that comes through the dealers. So what is required is that you need to have this certified documentation or custom entry that is done and passed by the customs department. Once that is satisfied regarding that custom entry, or you refer to as the ASICUDA document, you pay the necessary fees to customs. Once that is done, then you come with a copy of that said entry that has been passed by customs and your production of your payment receipt to the customs. You go to the Inland Revenue License Department, and accompanying that custom entry, you do the registration form. The registration have its specifics as to what is required for that registration. Once same is done, and hand it to the licensing officer. On viewing the documents, the custom entry as well as the registration form, he will immediately would have that vehicle registered and have it assigned a registration number.
Okay, that's basic. Now, the process after that process of registration, I'm assuming you talk about newly imported vehicles, so first time coming on island, especially from the port point. So that's that. How is the process for vehicles that is already on island? And I'm assuming someone wants to make a purchase of a vehicle that is already on island. What's that process like now?
But it all amounts down to the purchase of that vehicle would amount to transfer of registration, transfer of ownership of that vehicle. But just to guide you regarding the actual importation of the registration of that vehicle, once then you'd have had this vehicle registered, you'll be assigned a number.
Yes.
And with that number, then you make the necessary payments to the necessary payment that is required for that particular vehicle based on its construction, use, and adaptation to the Inland Revenue.
All right. So it's basically the same process.
If I may chime in, I think what you're referring to is the licensing of a vehicle,
okay,
which is done annually. So once it's registered, that is done once.
Okay. No, I understand the licensing process of it. Yes. I was just trying to get the connection in terms of, it's a vehicle already been licensed. So that is
so once it's registered, then it
just basically maintains that as always.
Throughout.
Is there a process where numbers can be transferred in any way and all that? Is there that can be done?
Well, up until that time,
as per the register, that one number has been registered on there.
Yes, so basically you have the instances of where you can have your number retained.
Yes.
So you have had a number assigned with you maybe for the last 10 years. You may have sentimental values regarding the same number. It may have been your first vehicle. What you'll have to do is apply to the officer in charge of the traffic department, the reason being regarding the retention. Once approved, then you'll be given a documentation regarding the retention of that number. But what would happen here is that once that number is being retained for another vehicle, you're also required to do a re-registration, in that the previous vehicle will have to be re-registered to make the number that you are desirous of available for that new vehicle. So in so doing, for that retention of that number, you'll have to apply to the traffic department officer in charge. The reason being so, once the approval is given, then you have to, for the retention of that number, you'll have to do a re-registration, in that the previous vehicle will have to be given another number so that your previous number could be made available for that new vehicle.
All right. What if in the instances of maybe a major accident and you want to, of course, keep the number? Is it almost the same process goes through?
Well, basically, it goes to a retention. So you'll have to make those requests. They said upon approval, then you'll be able to do a re-registration.
Okay, great. Hope understandably so. Now of course, it's January, so I know the inspection process may have already started. Let's talk in reference to the procedure that individuals may have to go through in terms of getting their vehicle inspected. What is that process?
Okay, so you indicating a process, but what is required of a person, owner, driver?
Be preparedness, I should actually.
Certainly.
That's what I should actually say. Getting prepared for it.
But you'll recognize that all in guarding your sane preparedness, it comes down to the general maintenance of your motor vehicle.
Yes.
So you maintain your vehicle, that is, it's roadworthy. So there shouldn't be no stringent process or stringent things that you're required to do upon registration. But it's important for you to continue those checks regarding before you show up for inspections, in that you check your suspension, you go to your mechanics, have the appropriate persons check your vehicle, and you don't want to have persons just guessing that is so. So you have your suspensions checked, you have your braking system, your lights, your tires, your horn. You'll be able to, because this may sound simple, but you realize in traversing the road, you may want to be able to give clear indications to persons of your next move, or your intention, or to turn right or to turn left, or you want to be able to show good presence on the road, in that with the use of your horn, giving good notification to other road users and pedestrians of your presence on the road. What you also want to be able to do is that that your vehicle is an investment to you, and so doing that, you want to be able to have the convenience of your vehicle. So we want to encourage persons to have regular maintenance check, maybe not by yourself, but go to your authorized persons, to a professional or a mechanic that can have your vehicle checked for you in those preparedness for those inspections.
Some of them say now the do's and don'ts in the same preparedness direction for your vehicle before inspection.
Well, those we notice the amount of vehicles that are on the island, and we want to be able to, in every instance, have a due process regarding your inspections. We don't want to make it too drawn out, but at the same time, with your preparedness, it makes it an ease on the inspection. Yeah. At least a minute and a half, 2 minutes to have your inspections done. But what we want to guard persons in those inspections is that you want to come to those inspections and avoid delays, in that we may require you at those inspections to have such particular maneuvers done. So we want to encourage you that when you're coming to these inspections, you come alone as a driver, or before you enter the line for the inspection, you have your passengers get off of the vehicle, so that we can have those inspections done. At any time, the inspections would not be done with passengers in the vehicle or with a motor vehicle that is laden.
All right. I asked a question, the do's and don'ts, for a particular reason. For most times you hear of vehicle owners complain about, well, I went to do inspection, I was told I cannot have a particular light on, or maybe the type of horn that is on my vehicle and so forth. That's really, I was going with the do's and don'ts, because some folks always have those modifications that they may put into their vehicles. And so my question was going along that direction in terms of the do's and don'ts before coming to get your vehicle inspected.
What you recognize regarding those things that you're actually highlighting are actually, most of them are already ticketable offenses. Yeah. So as much as we're saying the do's and don'ts, there are things that are there that are ticketable. So it's not a matter of you coming for inspection and you have to remove it and you can put it back.
Someone may feel I'm getting away with it the whole year, so maybe I can come do the inspection.
It's not only don'ts for the inspection, it's don'ts for the road.
For the road in general.
Yeah, but you would have mentioned regarding lights, and so is that the regulation speaks regarding colored headlamps or colored bulbs or additional lights. Regarding tints also, as per law, they are allowed a 20% tint on your windows, with two side glasses, the back window, and a 8-inch sunshade on the windscreen. Also, the law speaks about the regulations regarding your number plate. So it gives specification for your letter size and spacing, and the uprightness of your registration plate. As indicated, what you recognize is that the registration plate is the most distinguished mark on any motor vehicle.
Yeah.
In that you'll have several white CX-5, several vessels, several Suzuki Swift. But what will separate them is that registration number. In that the law requires that number should be easily recognizable and easily distinguished.
All right, so that's the basic thing. So in a nutshell, you're saying your vehicle should remain as is.
As is.
In terms, of course, how it was imported to the island, and of course, whatever it comes, that should be what it be.
Certainly, sir.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take. When we come back, folks, we have much more for you. Stay with us. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Ready for the ultimate culinary showdown. GBN presents Oil Down Fest. Oil Down Fest. Oil Down Fest 2025. Who will be crowned the Oil Down King or Queen? Compete to win in exciting categories like the most creative presentation and People's Choice. Mark your calendars. Saturday, February 1st, 2025. And join us in celebrating Grenada's 51st Independence Anniversary in style. Call or WhatsApp 473-407-8458 to register. Don't wait. Spots are filling up fast. This one-of-a-kind festival will feature electrifying music from Hot FM's top DJs, vibrant craft exhibition, and captivating performances by local artists. Don't miss the tastiest and most exciting event of the year, GBN's Oil Down Fest 2025. Saturday, February 1st.
Darling, they look real good, Proudly supported by Flow.
Grenada is indeed beautiful and worth exploring. We firmly believe that you should be allowed to do so. Why not explore Grenada with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours? Whether you decide to explore Grenada with your family, spouse, or large group of friends, we are ready to welcome you. Our tours are guaranteed to leave you with wonderful memories of Grenada if you are visiting, and excitement if you live here. Book a tour with us now by visiting our website www.jamessvcs.com. Call 1473-442-3769 or email info@jamessvcs.com. James Services Corp Off-Road Tours.
I am Dennis James Williams, owner and director of James Services Corp. Looking forward to welcoming you to the beautiful island of Grenada to explore with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours. See you soon.
Explore our
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Welcome back, of course, officers. We're talking this morning, registration, of course, how to get your vehicle prepared. I certainly hope that those of you who are listening and viewing, of course, understand the process that you have to go through for that also. Our next segment of question goes along this line. Motor vehicle license. In terms of the due date and other issues that you may have to follow through on, especially when the process starts or when the process ends in terms of licensing. Let's get a bit of some information on that.
Okay, so the first half of the year, January to June, would be considered the licensing period within the state of Grenada. Yeah. Within that period, we have 4 licensing periods, which are for a duration of 45 days. So the first licensing period will run from 1st January to the 15th of February. The second licensing period will run from the 16th of February to the end of March. The third will be from the 1st of April to the 15th of May. And the fourth licensing period will be from the 16th of May to the end of June. Within those time, you are directed based on your registration number to show for those inspections. So, as indicated, the first licensing period, which will run from the 1st of January to the 15th of February, we are looking at vehicles in the plural registration. When I say plural registration, we're looking at numbers PA, PAB, TAA, TAB. There'll be numbers from 1 to 250. And in the single registration, we refer to most time as straight numbers, PTH, would be vehicles from 1 to 2,500. So this would be the first batch. The second batch would be vehicles, plural registration from 250 to 500. And in the single registration will be 2,501 to 5,000. The third license period will cover vehicles from, in the plural registration, 501 to 750, and in the single registration would be vehicles from 5,001 to 7,500. The fourth license period will cover vehicles in the plural registration, 751 to 999, and in the single registration will be vehicles from 7,501 to 9,999. So basically, this is a breakdown of the different license period and the required numbers as to when you get those inspections.
Okay. I missed my period for some reason or the other. I'm talking about the licensing period. How can I remedy that?
Okay, so for some instance, you may have missed your license period and you want to have your vehicles licensed. What will happen here is that there's a facilitation for that, in that you can go to any police station or any police department, shows up with the insurance for that, ensure that vehicle is insured, and the driver's license of that person who intend to have that vehicle moved from wherever you're going to take it to the places of the inspections. What we want to ensure is that on making those requests for that permission, in that you get good indication as to maybe any other thing that you may have to prepare yourself for that inspection. So take for instance that you are taking that vehicle from Belmont and you want to go into the National Athletic Stadium to have your inspection. But on your way there, you need to obtain maybe a battery or you need tires. Give that indication to the police so that the adequate time is given to you in servicing that vehicle for those inspections. In that you don't want to be able to be given that limited time and you have extra stuff to have done on the vehicle before that inspection and you're out of time. Just want to give guidance as to where the inspection are available and when. So within St. George is available at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 and 4 at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. In St. John, it's available at the Guelph Police Station every Monday and Tuesday of each week between the hours of 9 and 3. In St. Mark, it's available at the Victoria Police Station every Wednesday of each week between 9 and 3. In St. Patrick, it's available at the Sutters Fire Station every Thursday and Friday of each week between the hours of 9 and 3. In St. Andrew, it's available at Paul's Airstrip every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between the hours of 9 and 3. In St. David, at the St. David's Police Station every Thursday and Friday of each week between the hours of 9 and 3. And in Carriacou, at the Carriacou Police Station, they'll be Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 and 4. 8 and 4, they'll be available at the different locations.
Right. If I may also ask a question, is a vehicle not allowed to take his vehicle to be inspected at any of the inspection locations? If I'm in St. George and I'm probably in St. Patrick, and I think I want to get my vehicle inspected, is that permitted or not?
Yes, it's permitted. Anyway, the inspections are permitted. You can have your vehicles inspected island-wide at any location once available.
And it should not be a problem there. Anything else in relation to the inspection that we missed?
Yes, you would have also asked me that you would have missed your time regarding those inspections. So what I want to guide persons in that missing your time also would be, you would automatically incur a penalty fee of $50 for having your inspections done late.
The late fee, as you referred to.
Yes, a late fee. But if there are reasons that maybe mechanically that you are not able, what would suffice is that you have a document or a letter from your mechanic indicating that during my period of inspection, my vehicle was down for mechanical reasons. Upon those views that are the paying area, so that exemption of that late fee can only be done in person, because you realize not that we have the opportunity of doing those paying your license online, in that is automated, and that automated system is not in a position to waiver your late fee. So the late fee cannot be waived by on the online platform. So the waiving of the late fee can only be done through in-person payments.
All right. Anything else? Inspector Douglas, you have anything you want to
I think I might just want to add a little clarity to the point about the permission for moving a vehicle to have it inspected. What the corporal explained, to put it in simpler terms, is that you're being given a limited amount of time when you're authorized to move your vehicle from point A to point B. So, for example, you're given a time and you're given a route. So if you're found elsewhere during that permission, you can be charged.
Okay.
Because you're not authorized to be there. Your vehicle is not licensed to be there. So people need to be very particular about what has to be done so that they're given adequate time and that the locations that they expect to be are also included.
All right. So you said you were late, so they said you were given an hour or 2 hours, just for examples. You have to make sure it's done between that particular time.
Yes.
So if within that hour you need to go have new tires, get a new battery, or whatever you need to have done, have it done between that time and get the inspection done.
Correct.
After that, you probably, is it a ticketable offense, right? For more or less? When you said charge, is it
Yes.
it's
It's the same as if you were doing your own thing with a vehicle that's not licensed.
All right. Now let's talk in terms of purchase of vehicles. Now, of course, we want to expand on that a little bit in terms of course, purchase of vehicle, the process that goes through for an individual wanting to purchase vehicles.
Yes, the police have seen a lot of issues, a lot of complaints coming into, for example, the CRD regarding persons purchasing vehicles and having issues afterwards. So we want to implore the public to make the necessary checks before you go ahead and purchase a vehicle. First of all, you want to make sure that that person who intends to sell that vehicle is authorized to sell the vehicle. So that person must be the owner of that vehicle in order to sell it to you, or otherwise authorized by the owner to sell it to you. Now, a person may be the legal owner. So I bought that vehicle, it's mine. But they may not be the registered owner, right? Because it was not transferred to their name. So if you purchase such a vehicle from that person, then that person will not be in a position to transfer the vehicle to you. So those are things that you want to check, and those information can be obtained from going into or making a call to the licensing department to make sure that that person is legitimate. Secondly, you want to make sure that the vehicle is of the standard that you think it is. So you don't just take a glance at it, see that the body looks good and say, okay, fine, I'll buy it. Yeah. You want to get a professional to check that vehicle to assess all the workings of it, the parts and so forth, to make sure everything is good. If you purchase the vehicle and there is anything about it that is faulty that you could have identified and you fail to do so, then you are stuck with the problem. As opposed to if the seller knew of a fault that you could not have identified and failed to inform you, then you have a case against that person. You can sue them successfully. But so long as it's something that you could have identified if you had done your due diligence, then you have a problem of being stuck with it.
So coming to complain to the police about a problem that you could have identified, there's not much the police could do about that.
Well, what we generally would do is try to mediate. In some cases, the seller may say, okay, I'll give you back a certain percentage of what you paid and things of that sort. Right? We try to assist the parties in resolving the issue. But if the person refuses to, there is nothing that the police can do about it.
I guess you want to take that legal matter to court.
And if you take it to court, most likely you will not succeed.
All right. So it please to follow that due diligence, have a proper mechanic, thoroughly check the vehicle, make sure everything is proper and to the standard that it's supposed to be at before you make that purchase.
Of course. Because just driving a vehicle does not say. You drive it and it feels good. It drives fine. But that doesn't mean that everything is good with
Something could be done to make it work good for that day.
Thank you.
I speak it because I ran into problems like that once.
Yes, especially if you're purchasing the vehicle from an experienced person, a mechanic, and people of that sort. They know what to do to make it feel good for the day or for the week.
And then after that, you realize, hey, something is not right about that. Anything you want to expand on that? And then we move on.
Just want to highlight, as indicated, that you need to be able to do due diligence regarding those purchases. As indicated, the information are available at the license department, Inland Revenue. You can call in or you can go in and have a verified check as to who's the registered owner of that such vehicle.
A question that comes to mind: you may not have transferred your vehicle to someone who you may have sold it to, you may not have made the transfer, but somehow that vehicle has been driven on the road, is getting the insurance and so forth. What's the legality of that process there?
Okay, so it is an offense to fail to transfer a motor vehicle that changes ownership.
Yeah.
So whether it's by sale or any other means, even if it's a gift, if someone gifts that vehicle to someone else, they become the legal owner of it. That vehicle is supposed to be transferred, and the law says it must be done within a period of 1 month.
1 month.
Yes.
All right. I say this because I have known of a situation where someone, of course, purchased a vehicle from someone, didn't do the transfers yet, and for reasons because maybe completion of the sale was not. Sometimes someone I'll pay the rest.
Yes.
I know these things, but it wasn't happened. So for that reasons, the transfer was not done because I was not fully paid. And the person say I was not fully paid for the vehicle. But then you notice now you were not fully paid, but the vehicle has been driven, it's been getting inspected, it's got to be insured and so forth. So sometimes I just want to know what's the legality between that. How could that be remedied?
Well, in terms of the police side of things, the only issue is the failure of the transfer. Mm-hmm. Right? So if that person sells the vehicle and does not transfer it, then the seller can be charged for failing to transfer the vehicle. Right. If they have a transaction that is semi-complete, and as far as they're concerned, the initial owner is still the owner, then that's not an issue. Okay, so you pay me half of the monies, and I allow you to use the vehicle, but I'm still the owner until you complete the payments. Then the ownership is not yet transferred. Okay. Right?
But when does the insurance issue comes in? Is it the insurance company at fault? No, for issued insurance for a vehicle that is the owner is not fully showing full ownership of it?
No, the insurance company has no fault to bear on that issue. So long as the vehicle, the owner is maintained, the name of the owner is maintained, then the insurance company does not have to ask the individual himself to come in to update the insurance.
Okay.
Right?
But what if it's been insured on a different name, sir?
Right. So it must first be transferred to that different name before it can be insured on that different name. Yes, so they go hand in hand.
I'm asking because I've seen the situation where it has arrived already, where the individual may not have completed the transaction in terms of the purchase, but was able to get it insured on his name, not being completed with the transfer and everything. So now GT purchased it from ASP Douglas, but ASP Douglas didn't finish the transfer between myself and you because GT didn't finish. But GT went to the insurance company and got an insurance.
Well, that definitely will be a fault of the insurance company because they must satisfy themselves that you are the owner of the vehicle before they issue an insurance policy in your name for that vehicle. So in that case, where the vehicle was not transferred and they issue an insurance policy, they will be at fault, as opposed to the vehicle not being transferred. Someone else having possession of it, but it was not transferred to them, and they continue to update the insurance in the name of the initial owner or the original owner. That problem could occur.
Yes. All right. We drew for a break once again. Let's take a break. Come back. We still have much more to talk about. Stay with us. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break, folks. Don't touch it out.
Grenadians, the National Celebrations Committee invites you to celebrate the next 50, embracing a future of development, transformation.
Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. Going higher. 50 years we're blessed, we're forged in fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 up. Going up, going up, going up, 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 up. We're going higher. Going higher as we aspire, build and fast one people together. Bang, bang, bang. It's only up from here. Take time to reminisce on the richness of our history from the beginning, from the people who came through sugar and change. I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Of course, we're talking in this segment. We want to talk transfer of ownership. We want to spend a little bit of time on that, offering some explanation. We want to talk insurance when ownership is transferred. How is that process supposed to be done? And of course, expand explanation on that also. I'm not sure who's going to take up the mantle in explaining that.
Okay, so going back to the issue of transfer of vehicles, it is important that vehicles, when ownership is transferred, whether it's by sale or otherwise, that vehicle is transferred to the person who becomes the next owner.
Okay.
So it should not, for example, you sell a vehicle, but you did not transfer it, and that person you sold it to go on to sell it to someone else. The new owner wants the vehicle to be transferred to them. It is not correct for you to transfer that vehicle to that second new owner.
Okay.
All right? It must first go through the person that you first sold it to, and then to the current owner. That is important for the records at the licensing department, because, for example, you may have an investigation being done in relation to that vehicle. And if those records are not correct, it can throw everything off. And it might go against you as the person selling the vehicle or as the person purchasing the vehicle. It might affect you in some way or the other when the correct period of time is not shown in the records, and the correct persons who own the vehicle within those periods is not in the records.
All right.
So that's very important.
The responsibility, who does it lies on in terms of paying for the transfer? Is it the first owner or the purchaser?
Well, the law says that the seller is responsible for transferring the vehicle, so it follows therefore that the seller will be responsible for paying the relevant fees for the
I guess
transfer.
you could have an arrangement. You say you want to pay for it if you feel.
Yes, of course. The cashier will not ask whose money it is. The cashier is concerned that the vehicle is transferred, is being transferred, and the payment is made. Right. So, of course, the parties can decide as part of the arrangement that the purchaser will pay for.
But it's usually the seller responsibility.
It is the responsibility of the seller to get the vehicle transferred.
Right. I mean, I asked the question because there's always sometimes that conflict and feel, well, I'm selling it to you, so you're the one responsible for taking care of everything now. You understand? After I receive whatever lump sum that I receive, I think everything else should be you. So sometimes some folks do have that.
So in relation to the transfer fees, it's the other way around. It's the responsibility of the seller.
All right.
To make sure that is done. Right. As it relates to insurance, and I like to stress this point, you'd hear people say that all the time. I sell a vehicle with the insurance. So I had a 1-year policy, and I'm selling the vehicle after 9 months, but the person is my good friend, so I'll just sell him the vehicle with the insurance, the 3 months that remain.
Until that policy runs out.
Yes, that is unlawful.
Yeah.
You will not have insurance. A lot of people do it and get away, but until something happens, and I've actually had to deal with a situation of that nature where someone believed that they had insurance because the seller said, I'm going to leave the insurance. That insurance expires fully within 48 hours. And 48 hours is a grace period given by the insurance companies so that the new owner can get their acts together, get their new insurance policy, whether it's with the same company or otherwise.
Okay.
All right. So once that vehicle is transferred, you have no more than 48 hours to have new insurance assigned to it, because the insurance is assigned to the person. Right? Is the owner getting that insurance for that vehicle and not the vehicle itself. Okay, so the new owner must get his insurance. And I like to give this example of the financial institutions ensuring that is done by including in loans for the purchase of a vehicle monies for the insurance, and they in most cases would write a check to the insurance company. You decide which insurance company, and they would write a check directly to them because they want to ensure that you don't run into these problems after they invest in that money.
Giving you that lump sum,
right? So those things are very important.
Now, in the instance of an accident on that nature, the liability will it be based on the seller of the vehicle? No, okay, I understand there's that 48 hours in between. I sold it to you, but you didn't get the insurance yet. For some reason, an accident occurred.
So long as the insurance has not expired, then it will be the responsibility of the current owner.
The current owner.
Yes.
Mm.
So within that 48-hour period, something happens. The insurance that has been in existence will have to take up that slack.
All right. I just questioned because you said you don't have insurance. Except it passed that 48 hours.
Yes, once it passes the 48 hours,
you don't have insurance.
Then the individual owner will then be responsible for any expenses, any compensation or so that has to be paid to anyone injured and property damaged. But if it happens before the expiration of that 48-hour period, then the previous owner's insurance will take up that slack.
Right.
Because they are giving you that 48-hour grace period. Okay, as how you do a coverage, for example. It's a similar kind of concept. So they will take that responsibility. So long as that period runs out, if the new owner has not obtained insurance, then it means the vehicle is not insured.
Okay, understandable, sir. 435-2041, and this will be open up the lines to our listeners and viewers. And of course, we are going to take a couple of your questions. I beg of you to be brief with your questions, please. First caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller, good morning, you're live. Caller, you're live. Good morning. I guess the caller is not actually paying attention. 435-2041, 435-2041. If you do have a question or two as relates to our conversation this morning, registrations, license, insurance, of course, the process that you do have to go through, transfer. If you may have an issue that you have experienced and you want to get some clarification on it, feel free to give us a call. And of course, the officers will certainly respond. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
We're doing good. Let's hear from you.
How are you to my officers? I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm so happy that you guys are talking about the insurance and the thing with different vehicles, especially bus owners. Because I have a friend. You can remember when the bus went down in the water on the carnage? That friend went down in that bus. And now that lady is dying slowly. And when they went to the insurance to find out about the insurance for that bus owner wasn't the owner of the insurance. The insurance wasn't up to, I wouldn't call the person name because they are a prominent person. They was in the name of that person. And you know, up to now, that lady never get a cent because they just given her the ring around and the ring around because the owner who is on the insurance is not the owner of the bus right now. And it is so sad. So I hope you guys, whenever anybody buy bus or anything, make sure before they start running on the road that the bus is insured in their name or the owner of the bus that they're driving for. Because it is very sad. She's dying now.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
And thanks for that information.
Have a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am, and thank you for the contribution. My advice to you will be to advise that lady to probably solicit the services of a lawyer and sue the driver of the owner and the driver of the bus for compensation.
All right.
Because if you fail to have proper insurance in place for your vehicle and any damage is caused or any injury is caused, then you personally are responsible for compensation.
All right. I have a question here from someone via the WhatsApp, and they say, I bought a vehicle for inspection. It failed inspection because the red on the door was a bit different from the rest of the vehicle. Would like to know what is the how was the color variation compromising safety? They asked that question.
It's first time to my knowing of something of that nature, so I just want to be clear, I hope there's no other issue than you mentioning that the color of the vehicle. I'm not seeing any way that infringes on the safety of the vehicle or, failing the inspection for having a different color. I'm not. Well, I'm not getting it.
Sometimes things do occur. Let's go to another caller. We lost that caller. 435-2041. 435. We have approximately 15 minutes left on today's program. If you do have a question or two, feel free to give us a call. And once it's within the range of the question, the officers will respond. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful, informative program. I have a question concerning the permission to move vehicle. I was in a situation not long ago where I had a vehicle that was garaged for quite a while, and the time had passed, and I needed to get it moved. And I went in the day before to be able to get the permission, the authorization to move it the next morning. And I was told, no, you have to come on the day you have to get it moved, which to me was total waste of people's time. I mean, I should be able to leave Grenada, get permission to move a vehicle, to go overseas and come back on a particular day and move a vehicle on that day. Once you get permission for that day. But they insisted the permission will only be granted on the day you plan to move the vehicle. Is this really legal? The explanation that was given was that sometimes people ask for a day and they move it another day. Well, if you catch them, deal with them, penalize them. But don't penalize people who are just trying to do things in the proper way. Could you explain to me what obtains in a case like that?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your question. There are some issues that can affect the concept of issuing that permission several days in advance. So as you say, if you want to get the permission, travel and then come back and use it. One of the important factors here is that the vehicle must be insured. And you can apply for permission to move a vehicle today, and tomorrow or the following day you cancel the insurance for whatever reason. It may not have been deliberate, but then you still have that permission, that document in your possession. And somebody who is not very scrupulous may choose to go ahead and use the vehicle, move the vehicle, despite the fact that they no longer have insurance. So those are issues that can arise, which is why the idea is that the permission must be granted as close as possible to the time when the vehicle is to be moved. I will say the day before should be fine, but not several days in advance.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller live. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, and you're live.
Good morning. Good morning. You can hear me?
Go right ahead, please, caller. Go right ahead, please.
Right. I think it's a very interesting program. I like to say to the officers, right? When we come from overseas and we renting vehicles, a lot of the vehicles or the renters, the people that rent the vehicles, it's in bad state. Tires worn, windscreen wipers have to work or work badly. What can be done about that? Because remember, we're coming from the diaspora and we're renting and we're blindly to whatever. How do they go on about that? What do they, is there such a thing like vehicle inspection in Grenada, MOT like they are in the diaspora? And are people allowed to rent cars to foreigners when it's unsafe? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question, sir. One of the first things I would say to you is that the driver of a motor vehicle is primarily responsible for ensuring that the vehicle is roadworthy. There are some aspects of it that can be passed on to the owner, but generally you as a driver is responsible. So if there is an offense in relation to the use of the vehicle, for example the tires, then you would be the first person to accept responsibility for it. So my advice is that before you take a vehicle away from the rental company, you should inspect it, ensure that the tires are good, and all the things that you can identify about the vehicle before you move with it. We do not have, as far as I'm aware, any system of ensuring that a rental company keep their vehicles in proper care and maintain it properly before renting it to you. The most that we can do is if we identify the vehicle being used on the road and it is not roadworthy, we'll take the necessary action.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chico. Let's hear from you, please. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have two questions. First, is it a legal requirement that the owner of a vehicle, even though you may not be a substantive driver, to present a medical certificate before being issued insurance?
All right. Okay, thank you for the question.
Sorry, and I have a follow-up question.
Go ahead, please.
The second question. We do have policemen assigned to inspect vehicles. Yeah? Sometimes the policeman may not be the competent person in terms of the knowledge of the vehicle. Do you anticipate a time when that responsibility will be given to a registered garage, so at least they could be the ones responsible for inspecting the vehicle and not a policeman?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Respond.
So in regards, you indicating of the competence of the officers in those regards. Well, you are fully aware the intention or what's about to be rolled out is that that those responsibles may sooner or later falls within the that of the transport board. But what I can assure you in that regarding the personnel that are inspecting vehicles currently, in that we have had annual meetings with certified mechanical engineers as to how to go about and the do's and don'ts, and maybe just having knowledge of the functionality of different motor vehicles. So yes, we have taken that measure to ensure that we are up to date with what is currently happening. But you can also be assured that the general intention now is that to have those responsibilities move from the police and be solely with the transport board.
All right. I think the caller did have a question related to having a medical certificate before obtaining insurance.
Yes, in relation to the first question. Now, the policy that you, as we say, take out on your vehicle it's a contract between yourself and the insurance company. And different insurance companies have different criteria for obtaining an insurance policy. So some may ask you to present a medical certificate. If you are a driver, you are one of the persons that will be driving that vehicle. So you may intend to allow someone else to drive the vehicle as well, or even to be the substantive driver. But so long as you are one of the drivers, then if that is their policy, they have the right to require you to present that medical certificate.
All right.
All right. So if I can go a little further with it, for example, I may purchase a minibus, and I'm not the driver daily for that minibus, but it's my bus, and I can choose to take it on a weekend and go to the beach or take my family somewhere. So the insurance company has to satisfy itself that anyone who will be driving that vehicle are suitable,
medically qualified to drive
fit to drive that
vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, understandably so. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty well. Let's hear from you, sir.
Morning, officers. Morning, GT. Question. You spoke earlier on about the tint, about the different type of tints and lights and so. If it is against the law, if it is against the law to put them on or to use them, why are they allowed? Why are they allowed on the island? So then you go and spend money to put it on and everything, and then when you go for inspection, they tell you have to take it out because it's against the law. I don't think it's fair. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question, sir. Well, in the first place, the tints and so on are not necessarily used only on vehicles. All right, persons apply tint to glasses for different reasons, different places, on buildings, etc. So the state, I don't think the state would have the right to restrict the type of tint or the grades of tint that come into the country. But specifically in relation to motor vehicles, there is a requirement that you keep it to a certain grade unless you're authorized by the licensing authority to use a darker grade of tint.
All right. 435-2041. We still can accommodate a couple more calls. Anything that we have missed this morning that maybe you wanted to put some emphasis in that you want to highlight before we entertain another caller? Or you think we have covered all the grounds that we are supposed to have covered for the morning already?
I don't think Corporal James covered re-inspection notices, did you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So yes, so regarding those inspections, I mentioned persons would indicate that I've inspected, you've been, and then after inspection, then you spotted those defects. As indicated, most of the defects on those vehicles will actually be ticketable, so you'll be issued a fixed penalty ticket and also a re-inspection notice. The re-inspection notice would clearly indicate to you a date and time as to where you should present the vehicle for those re-inspection, and also highlighting to you, driver owner, as to the defects. So you'll then present the vehicle at the inspection centers with that re-inspection notice, and will clearly outline the defects. So what will happen then is that we'll also go ahead and do the re-inspection, overlooking those defects and see those has been altered or has been remedied. Failure of you showing up for a re-inspection after you have been issued a re-inspection notice, in that the regulations require deem that your license for that vehicle can be revoked.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I am concerned about the integrity of the inspection procedure and process. We need to make sure that the police and the inspectors are consistent in following the rules. You cannot pass one car and fail another car for the same thing. That is your friend, you give them a chance to fix it. That is okay, go on, just make sure you fix it. But for the next person, you're strict and you say, no, you don't pass it for the same thing. There is a lot of favors and unbiased inspection of cars. We cannot have a friend thing in this thing. We have to be consistent, whether it's your mother, your auntie, your neighbor, your friend. If you fail this one for not being able for the wipers to squirt water, don't let the other person go and say, well, make sure you fix it and wink your eyes. There is a lot of these things going on, so please make sure it is a transparent procedure when you're passing and inspecting vehicles. And the very same thing that you're not supposed to do, the police officer doing it. Watch their cars. They have the biggest, darkest tint, and you can't even see who they park up in front of your house, marking you and his police officers and things. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Just to respond to the last part. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the contribution. If you're aware of any of these things happening, because I totally agree with you that they should not be happening at all in relation to the bias pertaining to inspection. So if you're aware of any of it happening, please do your civic duty and report it to the Community Relations Department so they can handle it. In relation to some persons having dark tint and so forth, there is a procedure for the licensing authority to authorize someone to use darker tint than what is stipulated. So for different reasons, persons may be authorized to have darker tint on their vehicle. So you see that happening sometimes. It doesn't mean that the person is going against the law. They most likely would be someone who is authorized to have darker tint.
We're probably going to have a final caller for the morning, and then we get some closing contributions. Caller, you're live. Good morning, and be brief, please.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I have two questions regarding to excessive bright lights that are currently on vehicles, multiple colors, and also the loud sounds from the city. I know there's a noise ordinance prohibiting such, yet still it's proliferating throughout the country, and I'm not seeing anything being done about it. Now, I know most of these things are mobile. They can take it in, take it out, and by the time they inspect it. But is there the second follow-up after that part? Is there a follow-up inspection that happens on a regular basis that they would, pull these vehicles over and ticket them? Otherwise, sometimes you're driving in light, and these lights are so bright you cannot even see. And the other, I noticed that they have a light bar across the top of the vehicle. If that is on, well, woe be on to you, because you really can't see after that. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. And that was our final caller for the morning. Respond to the caller?
In particular, what you spoke about regarding lights. In particular, the regulation speaks to make and model in regards to lights and additional lights or the fitting of different lights. So that is clearly stated. Regarding those bar of lights, basically you need to have permission to have same. And at those inspections, I can tell you, if you don't have permission to have those lights, additional lights, they are removed. As indicated, if after those inspections those defects are found, you're going to be issued with a re-inspection notice, and which would highlight those defects and direct you back to have a re-inspection done of that motor vehicle.
All right. Any closing contribution or anything?
Just to briefly respond to the issue of the sound, the issue with that, I think we've had a discussion on that before, GT, in terms of persons tend to make adjustments depending on where they are. So, for example, if there's a police station in the area where they're passing, they will turn that music down when they reach close to that police station. So the police may not necessarily be aware that this person has this excessively loud music playing in their vehicle. But we don't have enough people coming forward and raise those issues, make the necessary complaints, pass the information on so that the issues can be addressed. And that is very important.
All right. Closing contributions this morning before we take a wrap this morning?
Just in regards to those inspections, we want to encourage persons to make use of the different centers and the other opportunity to also pay your license, vehicle license online. And we want to encourage you to show up at those inspections early enough. As I indicated, all the places where they are available, you can have them done early enough instead of you waiting for days before the deadline, where we may and most likely expect the lines to be long. You can avoid those inconveniences of waiting a long time for your inspections. So we want to encourage persons to have those inspections done early and save yourself any inconvenience.
Okay.
Yes, I too want to encourage the nation to ensure that when you're going to purchase a vehicle, and this is the iteration here, that you ensure that the person who you're going to purchase it from is the owner or is authorized to sell that vehicle to you, and also that person will be in a position to transfer the ownership of that vehicle to you so that you become the registered owner of it as well. Ensure that your insurance is intact before you drive a vehicle. Remember that you have only 2 days after you change ownership to get insurance in the name of the new owner for the motor vehicle.
All right. SP Douglas and of course Corporal James, I want to thank you both for being on the program this morning, sharing information, and I certainly hope our listening and viewing audience will of course adhere to the of course inspection process that they have to go through, or preparedness process that they have to go through, and of course get the vehicle inspected in a timely manner so no issues will occur. Thank you both once again.
Thank you.
Hey folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another edition. Have yourself a good one. That's where we say goodbye.